So right now we're going to go into the INDYCAR race. Congratulations to the old man. I even posted on my Instagram. I probably never saw it, but I did call him an old man. He's 39 years old. The man from New Zealand came over here 20 years ago to start racing INDYCAR, and he hasn't looked back since. Scott Dixon. Wonderful race. Took home a victory. He did really, really well. I was really impressed with him. Solid race. He got out in front, stayed out in front, didn't make any mistakes. It was great.
Boring race.
And he's won both races this year, so obviously he's in first place.
Scott Dixon's great. It's the best start that he has had maybe since 2014. He's a 5-time world champion in INDYCAR, but the last time he won it 2 years ago, he was fighting from the back. He was maybe in third, and he came back and got first in the championship, but he's off and running. I will say, I normally love INDYCAR for the action, for the wheel-to-wheel. That race was a little boring.
It was, and what's weird is they were talking about how the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course was going to be boring. And for the INDYCAR race it was, but for the Xfinity Series, which we'll get into, it wasn't.
One more note on Scott Dixon and how great he is. Everybody was talking about how hot it was there for the drivers. They were not getting enough air, and we'll go in depth in a second. But on top of that, Scott Dixon's air tube, it was so hot that they had clean air going in through a tube into their helmets, all right? That came loose for I don't know how much of the race, but quite a bit of the race. And so you're talking about 120 degrees inside that cockpit with minimal fresh air coming at you.
Unreal. Yeah,
I'm dying right now in a garage.
That was a big complaint during the testing for the aero screen that they have on those Indy cars, which is a full glass, full plexi-like-ish cockpit. They say on the super speedways, which is where they did most of the testing, and they did road course test it too, but they said the super speedways, it was great. They did most of the testing, though, I think in the winter months. They didn't really do many in the summer months. And now they get a road course in the summer months, and they couldn't get any air into those cockpits, and the drivers complained about it. The kid, Oliver Askew, who is a rookie this year, he's from Jupiter, Florida, by the way, he crashed out during the race. In his post-crash interview, he said that he was so hot and so dehydrated in the cockpit that may have caused a mental slip up and him to kind of catch his wheel off the track, and that sent him into the wall. So then you can imagine that's a young man, a rookie, who is definitely notating the heat in that cockpit, and Scott Dixon, a 40-year-old man, held it. Yep. It was phenomenal race. I mean, he raced phenomenal. The race wasn't very exciting. There wasn't a lot of wheel-to-wheel action, but it was a great race. And I wonder, will that be an issue in the future? Will they address that? Will they address the fact that it's so hot on the road courses in the summer months with in those cockpits?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You watched the race?
I did watch the race.
Okay.
Most of it.
The first one?
The first
in Texas?
No, I didn't watch that one. I watched
right.
I watched about the second half of the road course race because my daughter was throwing a hissy fit in the beginning.
One of my favorite IndyCar drivers, I'm not going to say my favorite, but one of my favorites is Alexander Rossi. He drives for Andretti Motorsport.
Back of the pack in that race.
I like that guy. All right, he's always.
I like that guy.
He's always vying for the front. All right. My question to you is, where is he now? Not just him. Now he had issues at Texas. He had issues again here. The bigger question is, where's Andretti Motorsport? They're normally vying for wins, and I think their best finish is P4 yesterday in the race, or 2 days ago, I'm sorry. And then in the first race in Texas, another one of their young guys, Veach, got P4. So in all other teams, you look at it, it's the experienced guys that are out there doing well in IndyCar right now. Really long layoff. It's the experienced guys that are putting it in. Scott Dixon, Newgarden's doing well. A lot of the experienced guys. Will Power's doing really well. You look at Andretti, all their experienced guys are off the pace. It's the young ones that are doing it.
Exactly.
And they're not there enough. Penske and Chip Ganassi, they're kicking Andretti's ass right now.
Yeah, it should be an interesting season. I wonder. I wrote this down, and it really weighed on my mind. how are these? We have a couple of rookies in all of our seasons. All right, you got Nicholas Latifi in Formula One, Oliver Askew in IndyCar. There's another one in IndyCar. I can't remember his name right now. VK. You got a couple in Xfinity and even the ones in NASCAR. And this is such a crazy season. So put yourself into their shoes. They're a rookie. They're coming up from the lower ranks. They've worked at this their entire life, but this is an issue for them. And now they're coming into a season where they have to adapt to something that is unprecedented. They've never had this issue before. And I was like putting myself into that mentality. I was like, man, this got to be crazy. So I wonder how it's going to affect them in the rest of their career. I really wonder if they're going to be able to turn this rookie season around. Maybe this is good for them. Maybe this shortened rookie season, get something nobody really expects anything out of them, get it under their belt, and move on. So we'll really see how that goes.